And there's plenty more as we watch the field roll around. And of course, these are their finishing positions from the first race, the order in which they start, Scaife and Lowndes, that hasn't changed. And of course, where they started in the first race on your right-hand side. Ellery from 4, Russell Ingall from 6, and Crompton from 8. He moved forward from 12.
Glenn Seaton and Paul Radisich moving up to 10th from 14th. John Bowe, good move too, qualified 17th up to 11th. And look down the bottom there, Mick Donoghue, qualified 23rd, moved his way right up to 16th, really charging.
Trevor Ashby out of 17. Craig Harris went from 29th to 19th in the Bathurst winning car from last year. So the Brisbane driver doing very well. Chris Smurden back there in 23.
Peter Dillman, Simon Amazides, Paul Wheel and Jason Bargwana. Rodney Forbes, Greg Murphy, of course, outed with a broken diff. Tony Longhurst, we saw him spin off, and Stephen Richards. He had all sorts of steering dramas, but that's been fixed for race 2.
And that is your full 32 car grid. There is Greg Murphy. He's had a tough time of it lately. Had a very challenging run at Winton. And here's the man who has improved as the series has grown older, Mark Scaife. The gap narrowing all the time between he and his teammate. Great to see Stephen Ellery on the second row of the grid. Perhaps he could finish on the podium today. Who knows? Still plenty of racing left here at the final sprint round at Oran Park. The revs rise, and this is 2 of 3. Can the Mobil 1 Holden Racing team be beaten here in Sydney today?
A long time.
Again, away we go, and it's Lowndes.
Oh, a bad start for Ellery.
So it's Scaife on the inside. Bright is through up into second. Lowndes bogged down off the start. Look at the Valvoline car of Tander. He slipped up on the inside of Stephen Ellery. McLean is in there as well. And the 2 AU XR8s of the
look up the inside. Radisich, that's Radisich on the inside.
No,
it's Radisich, Ingall, and that's Seaton. Oh, boy.
Well.
Yeah, we
saw him got caught up in the early part of that tangle. We thought he might have been able to straighten it out, but the car just kept coming around and around.
Yeah, that was, I don't know, it looked a bit like Paul Radisich. I don't know, we'll have to get another look at it and see what happens.
One thing's for sure, Russell Ingall was tangled up in that, and as the field flies through, you can see how many positions Ingall has lost. He is way back after that.
Boy.
Faulkner's been the big winner in that incident as well.
Jason Bright third in Heat 1. Look at him, he's split the Mobil Holden Racing Team Commodores. That's a big boost for the Ford fans. Garth Tander, a great start, got in front of
look at
Stephen
it now,
Ellery.
look, you see Radisich on the inside there.
Cito on the outside.
Yes, I can't really tell from that angle, but I don't know.
Just couldn't bring it around.
Could also be a case of trying to squeeze 3 cars through a space.
Right here, have a look
2.
here. There you go. Well, there was contact.
Geez, so much going on there.
Yeah, you can't really tell from that. You know, it's unfair to blame anybody for it at the moment, but it's, you know, it's... that's Paul Whelan.
Yep, Paul Whelan, the K&J Thermal Products car. That is the end of his race, if not the day. So...
It looks like it's smiling, doesn't it? But I don't think it needs to...
The safety car is out.
Safety car.
So that's obviously in a precarious position. I was just trying to work out where that was on the circuit. The situation speaks for itself.
Oh, they're waving. I was going to say they've just walked past the safety car, but it's waving them past.
Waving past the rest of the field. Wait till the leaders get onto the back of the safety car. They'll form up in a grid. And wait till they get those wrecks cleared and we'll return to racing conditions.
Now, to give you an indication of how far Russell Ingall dropped back, as Glenn Seaton still keeps going back to 21st, Ingall dropped. So that hurt him dearly.
All right, now get a look. You see Radisich up the inside there, hard on the brakes. I think Russell then turns in. Yeah, it's coming together with Radisich and Russell, and then Russell sort of goes into Glenn. But it wasn't really...
Looked like Radisich was up on the curb. He ran out of room, and that squeezed Ingall. That squeezed Seaton. It was like a chain reaction.
You'd have to say Ingall, I would say, was 100% blameless there.
Yeah, sort of the meat and the sandwich. Oh, look at the damage to the front of the Valvoline Commodore.
That was Bargwana's car. So he's pushing back. They feel as though they've got that problem fixed that was in the first race. Feedback we got was that it was an electrical problem. So Bargwana, a little bit of damage on the front. He's in 15th position.
Ball with Bowie, right? So there's.
This will give you a good view. Look at Radisich. Look at Radisich on the left.
Now you see.
Oh, he's right over.
Seaton avoiding. Is that Seaton? Yeah, Seaton avoiding there. Oh no, that's Paul's fault. I would say. You know, I have to say that was Paul's fault.
Bow got a nice clean passage through.
Yeah,
went right through the middle
but that
of all
was
of it.
really.
Well, there is the young teenage Queenslander, Paul Wheel, is out of race 2 and has got some problems on his hands as we check the Shell Helix race score. Scaife and Bright. This is shaping up to be an interesting one. Stay with us. More on the other side of this. You're watching the Shell Championship Series on your home of Motorsport Network 10. And another frantic start. We've just got word through that Crompton has been black flagged due to a jump start, and we are back under green. And Lowndes has got a great restart on Jason Bright.
How close is this? He's got him.
Down into turn 1, Lowndes should have the run. He's got the inside for Bright, and Lowndes has moved up. Great move, Craig Lowndes.
That was a bit of hard driving from Lowndesy there because Brighty was right on the grass.
Now, Crompton would have only just found out that he's been black flagged, so we'll expect him to come in next time round.
Yeah, Scaife really got on the restart, didn't he? Opened up 3 or 4 car lengths, full throttle as they came across the line. Jason Bright just not as quick out of the corner onto the main straight, led Craig Lowndes to move up position, so it's back to the 1-2 mobile car domination we saw in Heat 1. Bright back to 3rd position, and the Valvoline Commodore of Garth Tander doing an outstanding job today.
Well, and Paul Radisich moves up. He's currently in 7th position. Let's not forget that he started back in 14th before race 1, so he is moving forward very quickly. Stephen Ellery still hanging in there in the older EL Falcon, right behind Tander, ahead of Radisich. There's McLean. He's got Bow right on him, and John Faulkner.
Actually, Radisich was lucky to get away with no damage. Well, no damage, terminal damage, put it that way.
Oh, there goes
Crompton.
Oh, gosh. That's a narrow pit entry, isn't it?
It's a terrible pit entry. It's really, really bad.
See him jag really hard left, right, trying to get in there.
Then we'll see how well Cameron McLean can handle the pressure of former touring car champ John Bow in the Cat Ford, because he is right on him. Here is Crompton's stop-go. Away goes the Ford factory driver in the AU XR8. Now that'll drop him quite a few positions.
Well, if anyone ever needed a better example of handing on the top quality cars to the privateers, it's Cameron McLean. It's incredible performance in the Greenfield car. There he is, Stephen Ellery too. Ex-Mark Larkham Mitre 10 Ford from last year, Ellery's car. This is the ex-Dick Johnson racing machine, the Greenfield Falcon. Look at how competitive they are amongst the professional teams at Oran Park this afternoon.
Yeah, look at that, the way that Cameron McLean's car's handling. I mean, it looks really nicely balanced.
Mitre 10 lap counter, 7 of 20. Whoa, the change of direction. He is hammering this car.
It looks good, though. It looks good.
3 wheels in the air. Maximum grip. As
look.
That's Barguana.
Yeah, Barg's up the inside.
Inside of Larkham for 14th. So he's making his way through. Considering he started back of grid, Barguana was way back in something like 28th off the grid for this race. Here's the battle. Look at the front end of the Valvoline Cummins Commodore.
Well, as we've seen before, thought Russell Ingall have similar damage up at Hidden Valley, and he absolutely cooked his engine. So hopefully the temperatures won't be rising too high underneath the bonnet of the Valvoline machine, otherwise it's going to have a very expensive engine damage in that car. 12th position now for Jason Barguana. That right front headlight looking pretty loose underneath there. Let's hope he can hang in there for race distance. Not that he needs it. So he now sits well in 12th. Perkins is the next one on his list. And as we farewell Dick Johnson, he sits in 12th. Isn't it amazing that
she's running really wide there, Barnes.
The topsy-turvy nature of this championship. This young guy was on pole position and dominated 3 heats at Winton just 2 weeks ago. Now he finds himself battling to stay in the top 10. Well,
that's what he said yesterday after he qualified 18th. He said, oh, well, from hero to zero, doesn't mind.
Look at this. Look at the amount of grass they're using on the...
Well, as they always do with these racing drivers, Baz, they put a strip of concrete on the inside of the ripple strip to try and save the grass.
Well, exactly.
The drivers just use it.
And if you put a set of railings there, they wouldn't go near it. You know, really, that's the only way to keep them off, isn't it?
Now, V8 fans in Queensland and Dick Johnson fans, his final testimonial dinner, or rather his farewell dinner on the 15th of September. That is the Wednesday night before the Queensland 500 at the Brisbane Hilton. And there's a number on screen to call. Fabulous nights, great feedback from the people who have been, so well worth going, and that will be his final one, and as expected that should be huge in Brisbane. And round 12 of the Shell Championship Series It is the first of the final 2 Enduros at the end of the year, the Queensland 500. Dennis Brown from Queensland Raceway is here this weekend, and he has shown us all the maps, and apparently the traffic problems are sorted out, so we look forward to that.
I was there last week and I saw all the plans and spoke to the coppers and policemen, sorry, and they said that it's definitely going to be sorted.
Good competitive run from Dick Johnson in his final appearance in a sprint round. He's in 10th position, defending hard from Larry Perkins in the Castrol Commodore. So Johnson got a marvellous reception from this massive Sydney crowd this morning when he did a lap of honour. They flew in this huge "Thank you, Dick Johnson" flag. It was a wonderful moment. Johnson was a bit choked up. It's a bit of an emotional day for Dickie. Hope he can get through. Look at the damage on Paul Radisic's cars. He got squeezed. Oh,
gives Ellery something to think about.
Right up behind Stephen Ellery now, feeling the heat of the Shell 18 Ford.
This is interesting because these guys will be teammates at the next round, and Ellery gives him racing room on the inside.
That was a good move from Radicic.
The Rat slips up the inside, so Radicic 1 position higher. He now sits in 5th.
Such an aggressive racer, isn't he? So effective at getting up the positions. He has a bad qualifying performance, and he always makes up a lot of positions on race day.
Well, that's become a tradition for him, isn't it? I mean, it makes it so hard for him to, when it comes to race day, to start way back.
Cut his teeth in the cut and thrust of the British Touring Car Championship. Now he's come to the V8s, and he said himself he is really surprised how difficult it has been coming to terms with how to set this car up on the level of competition.
Well, he was saying this morning that everything that the telemetry was saying should be done to the car went against what the seat of the pants feeling was, and that was what the confusion was.
See out the back of Dick Johnson's car, lap 11 of 20. Larry Perkins monstering the back of the Shell 17 Ford on board with Dick Johnson.
I tell you what, that thing of Dick's is not slow, is it?
No, I've been saying all season the Dick Johnson Racing Falcons aren't lacking for horsepower. They're going to be bullets up at Bathurst, I'm sure.
Quickest car out on the circuit is the Pertec Ford of Jason Bright, and he did that on the last lap. So he's hot in pursuit of the 2 Mobil 1 HRT cars, but as we saw in the first race, couldn't quite do anything about getting up there. He was there, but Lowndes got the jump on him at the restart. McLean is still fighting off the persistent challenge from John Bowe in the Caterpillar Ford.
See how hard he's driving that car, really working the suspension hard. Very challenging racetrack this. 2 wheels up in the air. McLean now with his mirrors full of Caterpillar Falcon. We're on board with John Bowe, fighting back from a poor qualifying performance. He's up to 8th position. This is the battle for 7th. Cameron McLean in behind Stephen Ellery and the similar EL Falcon. The older Ford's strong today, Baz.
You see, Cameron McLean's car was every bit as quick, if not quicker, through the left and the right and the left than JB's car was. So it's not a bad old banger, is it, really?
Watch the speed climb, the triple-emetry, the information there. They climb up to around 240 kilometres per hour. Hard on the brakes. This is turn 2 after they go through that interesting little kink, quick jab on the accelerator, then back hard on the brakes and down through the gears. This is the slowest corner on the circuit, about 65, 70 kilometres per hour as they wind back up. Well, it'll be interesting to see if McLean can do anything about Stephen Ellery.
Well, it's just a Mark Scape set up that first race. It's controlled aggression around Oran Park. You really monster the rear tyres very quickly. You're not driving, trying to keep the car as straight as possible. You hear that Mark Larkham has just dropped out of the race with engine problems, apparently. So the Mitre 10 Ford having another awful round of the Shell Series. Let's hope he can get things together for the 2 Enduros.
It's a really hard circuit when you think about it. There's absolutely nowhere to rest. Okay, you've got the main straight, but hard work. The whole circuit is really a lot of hard work.
Well, these two closing in on the back of Stephen Ellery. Dick Johnson still defending hard from Larry Perkins. Jason Bargwanna coming into the picture. This is the battle for 10th position.
Goes to show you how good John Bowe is, starting the day 17th, and now he's up into 8th, ahead of Faulkner, Johnson, the 2. And then now we go back to Greg Murphy in the Wins Racing Kmart Commodore, and his teammate Stephen Richards there, Longhurst behind, and Russell Ingall just in front. So Ingall has worked his way up from 21st back up to 15th. That little bit of a skirmish with Glenn Seaton and Paul Radicic earlier has hurt the Enforcer in terms of championship points. So too Seaton. That's not what they need at the end, at this end of the season. Keep in mind, double points coming up the next 2 rounds, 300 points at the Queensland 500, and at Bathurst as Craig Harris hassles Darren Pate.
Stephen Richards doing a great job too in the Wins Commodore. He started off the back of the grid after those steering problems in Heat 1. finds himself up in 16th position, so he's making a lot of ground. Craig Harris in last year's Bathurst winning Falcon doing a great job in the privateer ranks, but here's the battle between Jason Bright and Garth Tander for 3rd position. There's the two Mobile Commodores, about 1.5 seconds up the road from the Pertec Ford. But Tander
looks for business, doesn't he?
They really worked hard on the setup of this car this weekend. They came here basically with the cars set up the way they were from Winton, and they were terrible, so the teams had to go through and work very, very hard. Steve Kramer, all the shock absorbers, working very hard on that suspension development of the Gary Rogers cars. It's been a tough season for them, but right at the pointy end of the field, where it matters, the big Enduros coming up, these cars are getting right on song. And
Tander is the quickest car on the circuit, a 1:08.55 last time round. And it's obvious he is caught up and is now chasing Jason Bright, who realistically isn't that far behind Lowndes, but too far back to do anything about. Lap 14 of 20, so we're running out of time in this second one for him to do anything, but plenty of time for Tander to perhaps make a move on Bright for 3rd. Now, interesting, after their great run at Winton, not only Tander, but especially Jason Bargwanna, if you look at in terms of the teams championship, and there is no championship for the teams, but just purely from a points basis, they are the 2nd place team behind HRT. Now, for a small operation, that is a huge compliment.
Yeah, very effective driving combination. I'm really looking forward to seeing both those two together come the endurance time. Here's Stephen Richards. Tony Longhurst on the attack in the Castrol Falcon. Richards in 16th position. So it's a little bit further back in the pack, but every championship point vital here before we head into the Enduros.
Look at the names back there outside the 10. Ingle 14th, Murphy 15th, Richards 16th, Longhurst 17th. Of course, they had some misfortune in the first race. There was a bit of a tangle. We believe it was Garth Tander on Tony Longhurst. Saw that big black mark on Tander's front bumper as he made the inside challenge on Longhurst right here as we speak now under the bridge. We saw Tony end up in the sand trap as he now menaces Stephen Richards.
Stephen Richards, 16th position. Tony Longhurst. Keep in mind, these two guys started off the back of the grid after dramas in Heat 1. Well, to find themselves within the top 20 at this level of competition, phenomenal effort. Right across the dog leg, and Longhurst has a look down the inside. Richards not giving him any room. It's very tight on the way out.
That's good racing. That's good, close racing. Neither of these drivers want to be tangled up in anything after their results from race 1. Both giving each other plenty of room and good close racing. 16 of 20, we've got 4 laps to run.
Tell you what's critical for these teams too is we only have the Queensland 500 in 2 weeks' time, so you really can't afford to leave Oran Park with a bent car.
No.
You're going to be in all sorts of drama by the time you get to Queensland.
Well, the majority of teams are interstate. When I say interstate, from New South Wales or either Queensland or Victoria. So by the time they load the truck up tonight, drive home, get there, unload, do their work, they've only really got a week to work before they've got to pack the truck and leave again and drive to Queensland. For the Queensland team, it's a little easier. We see Craig Harris slip up the inside of Rodney Forbes. Nice move there. Rodney, after not finishing in the first race, he also had a tough run there, but fighting his way back.
Yeah, you have to say that Brighty looks like he's got Garth Tander under control, even though Tander was like he was all over the back of him. It does seem as if Bright, looking at the lap times and looking at the distance apart, I think
it's maximum pressure.
It's maximum pressure, but I think he's got it covered. Having said that, he'll probably pass it.
Well, it really is maximum pressure because Tander's just all over the back of this car. He's been since the start of the race. If Bright makes one slip, Valvoline Commodore's going to be up there.
He's done himself a world of good, Garth Tander. He's gained respect from everyone after he had the tag, the Wild Man, and he's settled down. He's had something like 4 podiums this year, and some good smooth driving has earned him plenty of respect, that's for sure.
Mobile Holden Racing Team continue to dominate at the front, just holding that 1.5 second gap over the Pertec Ford.
Oh, John Walker.
Had a big lose back part of the track.
That's a shame because John was running in 9th after qualifying 15th. So he was having a good run. Now, it looked like there was a bit of red paint on his back right bumper there.
Commodore domination continues of this Shell Championship Series. 28 wins to Holden, only 2 to Ford.
This is going to be interesting. If he does have a go, it's going to be a real desperado, I reckon, because it's pretty evenly matched.
Bryce just not giving him a chance. Former Australian Drivers' Champion. Had a wonderful transition to V8 Supercars. He's just continued to go from strength to strength. The only man so far this year to have qualified in the top 5 at every round. Consistency has been the key word for both Jason Bright and the Stone Brothers operation.
We have a timing monitor here in the commentary box, and we're constantly looking for movers in the pack, and one of the biggest movers is Jason Bargwanna from 28th to 9th. He is up there inside the top 10. He's sandwiched between Bow and Johnson, and on the move in the second of the Valvoline Cummins Commodores.
So Richards continues to defend magnificently from Longhurst. Let's have a look at Michelle Hillick.
Faulkner going up the inside of JB. A little bit of a touch there.
Oh. Well, what we hear from the pits is that John Faulkner's retired with broken steering. There might have been contact coming across the bridge there. We couldn't quite see.
It didn't look like, if there was a bump, it didn't look like a big one, not enough to break the steering. But,
2 laps remaining. Looks like Bargwanna's car. Well, if that engine is getting hot, it'll be really hot by the time he pulls into pit lane. But he seems to be absolutely powering. It's not affecting the speed of the car. Up to 9th position. He's climbed into the top 10.
From 28th. That is an outstanding effort. And look at this battle going on between Larry Perkins and Dick Johnson. This is for the minor placings. This is back in 11th and 12th.
Yes. That's it.
Dick defended throughout that race. But Larry, right at the last minute, maybe Johnson's tyres might be going off a little bit toward the end of the race. They did say it was going to be problems with tyres here as the day wore on.
What a day that will be in November when we see Dick drive his final Bathurst at the FAI 1000. We should remind you too, because there still seems to be a fair amount of public confusion out there. The V8 Supercars are at Bathurst in November, not October. We must stress that. Still quite a few fans walking around here this weekend asking questions. It is the FAI 1000 in November for V8 Supercars. That's the only time you can see these guys on the mountain.
Meanwhile, here's our race leader, Mark Scaife, Craig Lowndes, Jason Bright. Closed up just under a second. And I'm pretty sure that's the Mobile boys controlling the speed from the front. They're very conscious of the fact they've got to hold the rubber together on these tyres. They've got another race to come. So winning by the smallest possible margin isn't going to matter as long as they win.
Good points racing by Garth Tander. He's just sitting there, not doing anything desperate and gathering valuable points. But how about the 2 out in front? Mark Scaife, Craig Lowndes. Scaife will make it 2 from 2. And after the last race, the Mobile Holden Racing team have won 9 of the last 10 races here at the Sydney circuit. It's quite incredible. And Scaife will make it 10 from the last 11. Scaife does it. 2 from 2 for the Mobile 1 boys. Lowndes follows him home for second. Bright and Tander in for good positions, 3rd and 4th. There we go, a satisfying run for Mark. From pole position, a new qualifying record, 2 race wins under his belt. It's looking good to be a clean sweep for him, and Lowndes is doing a good job. It's been a very clean run for those guys. Sure, it was made easy starting from the front row, but Lowndes did well after bogging down at the start and reclaiming second at the restart.
They are so totally dominant. The funny thing is there's really no explanation. Nobody can come up and say that they are dominant because of this. It's just a class act from start to finish. Driver-wise, mechanic, engine, everything is very, very good. And other people should be able to match it because they have the financial resources to do it. And it's just, everybody is clueless as to why they're virtually 100% record, but it's just, they're just very, very good.
They're a polished unit, that's for sure.
They really are. You walk around and have a look, you talk to the guys, you said everybody's on the ball there.
As they take it home back to pit lane, 2 down, 1 to go here at the final sprint round for 1999. Scaife, Lowndes, Bright, Tander, Radicic. How well is he going? Look for him in race 3. Ellery, McLean and Bow. Bargwanna is up there. He's got a shot in race 3. Larry's coming good as the day goes on. And Stephen Richards, the best of the wins boys, in 14th. We go back. Greg Murphy in 17th. Neil Crompton worked his way back from that black flag inside the top 20.